Yeah, yeah, when I talk with a Queenslander, they don't say Ravi. Well, it says Ravi. They say Ravi. So
Ravi.
because they stretch it out. Ravi, mate. I said, mate, it's Ravi. Mate, it's Ravi. It's all right. anyway, anyway, let's start. All right. I'm going to hit record now. All right. All right. So let's get going. You're going to see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All, all right. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for having me on.
Pleasure is mine, Sharon. Sharon, your tagline, the one that's everywhere on your practice, is where science meets soul. I want to start right there in one sentence. What does that actually mean when someone walks through your door for the first time?
Yeah, so where science meets soul is basically my science hat. So I have a science degree and a health science, biomedical science. So it's where science meets that real alternative side, the core of what I'm doing in the work that I'm doing at the moment. So it's that
Okay.
soulful energy, that purpose I have, that place I have, and that place I sort of provide my clients with, so it's science meeting that soulful, really natural side,
Okay.
whereas science has that natural side, but that more sort of even deeper side that the soulfulness has. And when I looked at that as my tag, I felt it just really resonated with me in what I'm doing, because when I started in this space, it was extremely scientific. I come from a science background, and all of a sudden I was moving away into that more soulful, meeting yourself, finding yourself, sort of space. And that's what I was doing in my own journey with my own health. So that's where that really comes from. Yeah, where science meets
Alrighty.
soul and healing is sacred. Yeah.
Sacred. Yeah, well, that's a very powerful word. So Sharon, help me picture this scene for me. When does or what does the first 10 minutes of a session with you look like when with the GP appointment simply doesn't?
Yeah, absolutely. So coming back to providing that space, that's what I do,
Okay.
Ravi. So my exploratory session is all about listening to the person. So before that, I've collated all of their information. I've read their questionnaires. I've got to know them if I haven't met them in person, I get to know them with their questionnaires and all of their symptoms and everything else that's going on. That exploratory session enables them to really connect with me and
Okay.
tell their story. So I'm offering that time and space that we're not getting in conventional medicine, because our general practitioners are time poor, specialists are time poor, and not providing that extra, I guess, time to get to know the patient. Get
Can I say get to know the root cause symptoms?
Absolutely. In order to know the root cause symptoms, we need to know the person's story. Everybody's got a story to tell, and we know
That's right.
that. So
That's right.
everybody comes from a journey. And really, I know I bang on about this a lot. We all come from a journey, especially our health was derived from our journey. It's come from a far, wide space. In conventional medicine, they will look at the symptoms there and then and maybe just treat one small area, or treat the actual issue with a band-aid, whereas I look at the whole person. We're looking holistically. Root cause is about diving in and looking at the whole person and what's going on, rather than in parts and pieces, which we're not in.
The,
To
yeah,
say this sore foot comes from a long journey. It's not
that's
just
right.
now you're experiencing the sore foot. The sore foot is deriving from whatever sequences of your life that have happened in the past, and it could be in childhood. So when we're looking at
Childhood
functional
trauma,
medicine,
something like that.
absolutely, yeah, trauma is a big one. I mean, everybody has a bit of trauma. A lot of
Yeah,
people are
yeah,
traumatized. People are
definitely.
living with trauma more often than we know, and probably some people have recognized it, some people haven't. But it is really just owing to that we say, right, this is in functional medicine. We need to recognize that someone has come from, say, trauma or this experience. They've had even their ancestors. Epigenetics looks at what your great grandparents have been exposed to. You know, we know that certain breast cancers can develop in women, say in their younger, well, in my age group, who have had great grandparents exposed to forms of radiation overseas or other environmental exposures that wasn't passed into onto their parents but onto them, so they've had no other reason for it. But we have to really take that deep dive to see exactly the whys and the hows, because we can't fully treat someone without knowing their story. And that's my philosophy on that.
Thanks for that insight. I think that is so deep, to be honest, and that is what needs to be done. Thanks for that, Sharon. So, moving
Absolutely.
on, you founded Embrace Functional Medicine
Yes.
and Holistic Health after 20 years plus in mainstream health system. Now, I want the real answer here, not the polished one, not the political one. Sharon, what finally made you look at the system and say, this isn't enough anymore?
Yeah. So my own experience, Ravi, my
Okay,
own journey with my own health. So I I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, at age 19, and by age 27, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. So I had a fairly long battle of illness that I was in and out of the silos of specialist care and hospital care. My first year of uni, I was in hospital for quite a few months.
okay,
Embrace was born to honour what I was unable to find in my experience in the conventional setting,
okay.
with great gratitude to all of the nursing staff and all the staff that was there in the hospital setting. I'd left the setting without really having a full diagnosis of what was going on for me, and still with questions unanswered. Embrace has come from looking at me being that balance between, if you have been diagnosed, what happens next? Not, so normally people will come to me because, like myself, when I was diagnosed with endometriosis, I was just left, or when I was diagnosed with a suspected autoimmune disorder or rheumatoid arthritis, which what they said in the end, because they thought at
Yeah.
first it was bone cancer or leukemia. That's what they thought when I was
Did they
first.
say that?
Yeah, when I was 19, I was sent to Royal Melbourne Hospital, being under the suspicion that it was a cancer. So my mum had found this out, and obviously didn't tell me, but I got really sick in my first year of uni. I couldn't climb this. I couldn't walk up the stairs. I couldn't. I was getting sick every day. I was losing my voice.
Which uni was that? RMIT?
Sorry, what was that, Ravi?
Which uni did he go? RMIT?
Oh, was that VU at the time? VUT,
Okay.
Victoria
Okay.
University. Yeah,
Right, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I later went to Melbourne. Yeah.
I was, I'll cut this off. I was supposed to go to RMIT in Melbourne, but I got offer from Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane
Oh, yeah.
for my Master of Information Technology. So I went there.
Yep.
Had it been RMIT 10 days ago, I would have come to Melbourne directly.
Oh, wow. There you
Yeah,
go.
but I did get an offer from RMIT after that. I reckon maybe 15 days after that.
Ah,
So yeah, yeah. So but yeah, coming to back to your story, it's just 19 years of age and going through the pain and the trauma, and that made you, I reckon, the stronger person. You
absolutely.
didn't become a bitter person. You became a better person,
Yeah.
and that's why you've thought of starting this beautiful journey, which you just name it, embrace functional medicine and
Holistic
holistic
health.
health.
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I right?
You were right. Yeah. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I guess.
That
And
is
it
what it
did,
is.
yeah. Because I left with no answers, I had to find the answers myself. So remember, at this time, I'm studying nursing biomedical science, and I wanted to know the answers. Like, I was inquisitive and curious why I was left
Hmm.
in bed, riddled with pain, why I couldn't walk, why I was losing so much weight. I needed to know what was happening, you know. And that was when I sent my dad to the library because I had to come back to go home to bed, because sometimes they'd have to pick me up out of bed, put me back into bed. I had to, you know, they have to help me to walk to go to the toilet, and all sorts of
Okay.
things.
So, so,
Yeah.
so you were totally bedridden?
Basically, for that year, yeah, I was. Yeah.
19 years of age, and this is what happened. 19 years is you go on date, you go on partying, you go to
Yeah.
beach, you go to do so
Oh,
many
I still
things.
wanted to nightclub if I could, but I wasn't allowed.
Yeah, yeah, that is, oh, what a nightmare! What a nightmare!
Yeah, it was.
So let's get into into the work now, because I think most people have heard the phrase or functional medicine and have absolutely no idea. I don't
Yeah.
have any idea about it. No idea what it actually means day to day. So walk me through, Sharon. What actually happens when someone comes to you? Let's say any woman in her mid 40s, hormone chaos, exhausted, totally exhausted. She's got a gut issue. I've got it. I'll share it with you as we move along. Um, Doctors told her everything looks fine. The GP always say, "Oh, it's
That's
all
right.
right." What does working with you specially look like that she hasn't experienced before?
Absolutely, Ravi. So, yeah, functional medicine does exactly that. It takes a deeper look. Well, it puts the lens on your blood tests. It puts the lens on what's happening behind the scenes. So, functional medicine is taking a look under the hood to see exactly what's going on. So when that woman is feeling exhausted, and that woman is has her mood swings, and that woman has got gut issues, and these are the predisposing factors, but
Yeah.
goes into the conventional setting, has a whole lot of blood tests done, and is told that those bloods are normal, there's nothing wrong with you, Mrs. Smith, everything is fine, just go away and, you know, take a Panadol. They're left feeling confused. So functional medicine looks at what is actually going on, which isn't found in this sort of, you know, in the conventional setting. So it takes that alternative, holistic root cause. It looks at exactly what's happening. So instead of just swiping away and saying it might be this, it might be that, it's depression and anxiety, here's a pill for every ill, instead of providing you with a pill for every ill, it actually gives you a protocol to work on. So you're actually being supported by leaving with a really rigorous protocol. So it might be looking at herbal medicine, it could be looking at nutraceuticals and other supplements, lifestyle intervention, nutrition, diet and nutrition is so important, food as medicine. You know, so you're given, I mean, a holistic, you know, menu, and it's a bespoke journey. So every journey, like every blood test that comes through, is different. That person is treated like an individual, is not a one size fits all, which we find in conventional medicine. Take this anti-anxiety pill, take this antidepressant, take this.
This one size fits all, because unconventional way it never does.
No, that's right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very good insight, to be honest. Um, let's talk about premenopause specifically, because I don't know what it is. I will never experience that. But because I know this is closer to your heart, and you've written about it, you've spoken about it, women comes to you after being told their symptoms are just normal. What is the most frustrating thing you hear in that first conversation?
I feel what's most frustrating is that women's symptoms are being ignored and swiped. I call it the peri swipe. I've actually named it myself. The peri swipe is when a woman goes in to see her provider and is, I don't like the word complaining or complaint, but is saying, I feel X, Y, and Z, mood swings, insomnia, erratic periods, it could be gut issues again, migraine, and they sideswipe it for something else like anxiety or depression. So what aggravates me is that women come to me in tears because they're being told they have anxiety or depression, when really they are suffering perimenopause or really rampant menopausal symptoms before
So
the end.
you reckon, Sharon, that the GP in Australia, they misunderstood what premenopause is?
Absolutely. They have, look, GPs have very little training in menopause unless they've become functional GPs or they've done CPDs in menopause. In the GP training through the RACGP, there is a very, very little lecture on it. There's not much. So they're not as informed as they should be. So a lot of them find it hard to circumnavigate that whole topic without maybe referring you on to somebody else. But the answer, unfortunately, is often in providing that patient with an antidepressant. So they might walk out with an antidepressant, an anti-anxiety, and some Nexium, which is a proton pump inhibitor, which can
Okay.
cause cardiovascular issues and lots of
Oh,
vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Yeah. So it's a Band-Aid effect. So that's why I call it the peri swipe, because they're sort of swiped aside and put into a box of, well, she's got mood swings and she can't sleep and she's having erratic moments in her day and hot flushes left, right, and centre. She's
yeah.
depressed or she's anxious. It's just anxiety. You're just feeling down. Well, you're feeling down because of the symptoms, absolutely. But they know, they come to see me and they say, I'm not depressed. I'm depressed because of what I've been through, but I don't suffer clinical depression, nor do I suffer anxiety. I know what anxiety is about. I've read about it. This is not what I'm experiencing. I'm experiencing these symptoms, but I feel like I'm going crazy because no one is listening to me. And that's why I say that.
What is the age or when you get premenopause? What is the age range?
Yeah, sure. So perimenopause can start from about age 37
Okay.
and can then prelude for about 10 years onwards. Yeah. So women can be going through perimenopause for about 10 to 13 years, some less, until they reach menopause, which is the last day of their period.
And
So,
when does
yes.
that gets over the final premenopause?
So a woman can call herself menopausal on the first day after 12 months of no bleeding. Not even if
Okay.
if she's had spotting or something happen even at the 9-month interval, and she's had spotting, she have to start all over again. So she can't call herself menopausal until she's had 1 year fully blown, no bleeding whatsoever.
Okay. I didn't know that. Well, I knew what was that, the periods and all that. Everyone knew it, knows now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know this. Yeah, thanks for that insight. To be honest, and people, those who are going to watch this, they need to know how difficult it is for women. We as men don't get to understand that because we can't experience it, right?
Yeah, that's right,
But
exactly. There's interesting conversation, Ravi, that you're bringing that up right now because I'm in conversations with a few guys about menopause. A couple of blokes that I'm, in a circle with, and they've all had experienced past relationships and relationship breakdown as a result of their partners being fully blown menopausal, and that affecting their marriage.
yeah, people need to know about their partner's periods, the symptoms, the mood swings, and when that is done, and she is experiencing a perimenopause, they need to know what it is. As men, we don't. Obviously, she's not in a mood. She's not good for. She doesn't want to do this and that and blah blah blah.
Yes,
That is the where we need to chip in and
absolutely.
really understand the partner, which we don't,
Yes. Oh, so
and
true.
because we don't experience. You see, if I don't experience your pain, I've got severe acute GORD and IBS. I'll come to that when we talk about GERD. People don't understand. People
Yeah,
don't understand what it is. So I'll come to that. But that is what it is. As men, as a man, we need to really understand what a woman goes through these different um, life-changing experiences.
absolutely.
Body-changing experiences. I'm gonna put it in this way. But yeah, I've got one more question on the same note, but it's for men now. And you have also started working with men through your men's tribe work.
Absolutely, yes.
That's a real pivot from your roots in women's health. What surprised you the most about how different men's experience and hide their health struggle?
Yeah, so interesting. It is. It's working with apples and pears
Yeah,
almost.
it
Yeah,
is. It's not apple to apple. It's not oranges to oranges. It's different.
it is very different. Men, I love my Men's Thrive program. My Men's Thrive program was born out of the work I've been doing with Diabetes Victoria as a holistic health coach for them for 17 years.
All right.
So I was realizing the men had a high predisposition for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke, but they also had a very high predisposition to mental health issues. So I was really vested in ways to help men. I'd understood in the workplace, I was doing workplace chats, I was understanding that men were those who were becoming divorced or men that were going through other family pressures were undergoing a lot of mental health strains and suicidal thoughts. Yes.
Sharon, I want to interrupt here. You reckon different culture backgrounds plays an important role here for men? Different beliefs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, look, your classic. I'm going to say it as an Aussie, as an Australian here. I think your
Yeah.
classic.
Aussie.
Oi,
Yeah.
oi, oi. Are
Oi,
you,
oi, oi.
oi, oi, oi. I think
Yeah.
your classic Australian male is that cultured, working hard, maybe looking after the family, doing all of those things, mainly irrespective of their maybe cultural background. But I know with the European male, maybe less inclined to go and see the GP,
Why?
less inclined. I think it's, look, I think it's a weakness. I think it's a weakness. I think men will prefer to put off their own health and well-being. They'll put off going to see the GP to get that blood test done. I think they feel just brushing it over, not attending to themselves it might feel a bit more feminine. It might feel it's
You, you,
tapping into
you
their feminine
you also
energy.
reckon it could be an ego, it could be attitude that, I'm a man, nothing is wrong with me.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, guys are more likely to feel that, I'm fine, nothing is wrong. Exactly. I've been brought up to be tough. I've been brought up to not cry. There's all of that in there as well. I mean, it can be, some men are quite stubborn about getting checked. Some men are still reluctant to come in and see me. I mean, often their wives have sent them in, or they've just really saw my work or spoken to somebody and thought, I need some help. But they're still very reluctant, to stand up and say, right, I need to get my blood test done. Sometimes it can be like pulling teeth out to get the blokes to get their blood tests done.
Okay.
Because I'll be like,
Oh,
have you done your blood test yet? And they'll be like, oh no, I haven't got it. Oh, maybe next weekend I'm off. Or yeah, I got to get onto that. Yeah, I got to do that. It's just like I'm gonna. And it never happens, until finally they do, they get it. Then they get the health scare they don't want, from their GP. And that's when they think, okay, I've got to listen. I've got to do something now. I've come back to see you because my general practitioner said that my cholesterol was through the roof and I'm pre-diabetic. I don't want to go down diabetes trail. Now my wife has put me on a new diet and save me, please, So, yeah.
All right, I need to come to the next question, which is very close to my heart, and many people knows about it, but they tend to ignore. Could be men or women, I don't know. Gut health is everywhere right
Oh,
now, and
yes.
I have been the victim of it for last 20 plus years. I'll come to that. Every wellness brand has a probiotic.
Oh,
Every influencer has a protocol. What do most people fundamentally misunderstand about the gut hormone connection?
I feel, look, this goes back to that whole one size fits all. Gut health has become massive marketing, right?
It is.
And you're right, because everybody's on a shake or someone's on a probiotic, as you said. There's a one size fits all approach. There's a million zillion things, excluding the kitchen sink, thrown into supplements.
Yes.
I think people misunderstand that all health begins in the gut, and healing does begin in the gut. But we are very much about our own microflora. My microflora, my microbiome, which is the proportion of bacteria in my gut, would be different to yours, and so on and so forth, because we've had different cultural experiences, we've eaten differently, we're genetically different. That one size approach doesn't fit all in this, and people get thrown into the mass marketing of it and will go on things that can make their gut worse. So, can lead to GORD, can lead to, SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, because they've been on the wrong types of probiotics or prebiotics. Not one strain is going to suit everybody. And this is the misconception. And I think I spoke about this on another recording, because, we can buy supplements or we can buy probiotics that have 500,000 strains in them, but it's like someone gate crashing a party. If you've
That's
got a
right.
party going on and you've got a whole group coming in and they're baddies, yeah, they come in and they gate crash, they're going to
Yeah.
cause a rift. They're going to cause controversy. And, some people will say to me, oh, I'm coming to see you for gut health. I have started a probiotic, but since then I think I feel worse. And that's normally what happens, because a probiotic is really needed once gut healing is commenced. We need to heal the gut first. And that's the misconception that people don't understand. Like, I have clients that I work on with diabetes and the diabetes program, and they'll say to me, oh, just give me a 7-day meal plan. And I say, but you've got gut issues. If
Yeah.
I give you that, you're just still going to suffer the triggers you're already suffering. It's not going to make a difference. We need to heal the gut. We need to start with that first. And that's first and foremost.
Okay, I'm going to give my as an example to you. So let's say
Yeah.
I come to you, and I've got acute GORD and irritable bowel syndrome. It's been 20 years. I've been to many doctors in Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney. Same thing, IBS. There's no cure. So don't drink, don't smoke, don't do this. No spicy food, nothing, blah blah blah. No Indian food, no oil. No junk food. I said, all right. Um, I'm a guy. I exercise every day. I go to gym, hit the gym very hard. A very healthy lifestyle, healthy food. Though I'm an Indian, I don't eat Indian food. I just eat very less kind of a spices in it. I still have it, and I just there's a pain in my gut all the time. Recently, my endoscopy, colonoscopy was done again. My CT scan was done again. They just didn't find anything. They said my everything is good. You need to live with it, but I can't, because I got a pain in my gut 24/7. That is impacting my social life. It's totally fucked up. My sex life is also somewhere impacted because I'm not in a mood, right? So I'm just giving you my example because I've got a severe gut issue. I've been to England as well. All the doctors say the same thing, Ravi. You need to live with that. There's no cure. So what do you reckon on this?
I think you don't need to live with it. Definitely not. That's not, you shouldn't take that as an answer. We don't need to live with pain and suffering. That's a no-no. Your gut is telling you something, obviously, and you've got to listen to the whispers. That's what I think. stress and anxiety plays a part. Stress and cortisol plays a part with gut. Environmental triggers, environmental stimulants. I haven't looked. Would have to look at that for you.
Okay.
But when I do my gut, so I do a gut, adrenal, and thyroid program. So when I send a questionnaire across, it covers everything. And then some of these areas are sort of crossed over because there is a correlation between gut and thyroid. We know that there's a correlation between gut and the brain because of the brain axis, the superhighway called the vagus nerve. You've probably heard
Yeah.
of it.
I was told in Sydney when my first colonoscopy was done, and he said, Ravi, your brain sends the wrong signal to your gut, and that is why this is happening. Is it true?
Look, for IBS, that can be the case because we understand irritable bowel syndrome is quite a functional syndrome. We can't diagnose it. It's really a cluster of symptoms that's in one umbrella. We
Is
know
it is it hereditary?
IBS can be hereditary, definitely.
My mum has been suffering from it. It's been last 40 years.
Wow, long time.
Long time, and my mom's is really bad, like really bad with IBS. Mine is still in control, or I don't take any dairy products or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's still under control some, but that pain, that irritation